In the 6th century BC, the Israelites are sitting in Babylonian exile. Jerusalem has been leveled, the physical temple is gone, and the national mood is one of absolute despair. In the middle of this devastation, God gives the prophet Ezekiel a sprawling 9-chapter vision of the future. The goal of chapters 40 through 48 is to provide the exiled people with a concrete reason for hope. The first half of this vision reads like a detailed architectural blueprint. It outlines a massive new temple complex, complete with exact measurements, strict boundary lines, and structural schematics that resemble modern engineering plans. But the second half of the vision pivots. Ezekiel describes a miraculous river flowing directly out of the temple, a river that behaves in ways that defy the laws of natural physics and geography. This creates a jarring textural paradox. The author places hyper-specific, rigid structural data right next to surreal, symbolic natural phenomena. This tension raises a difficult question. Is Ezekiel recording literal blueprints for a future physical construction project, or is he recording a symbolic allegory? Choosing between these two paths requires an interpreter to prioritize either the text's mathematical data or its theological imagery. The path chosen here shapes the entire framework of end times eschatology and the historical finality of the Christian atonement. Let's examine the first major interpretive approach, strict literalism. Literalism's evidence rests on specific dimensions, exact cubits, geographical references, and designated priestly duties, suggesting a physical construction project. However, history reveals a problem. This temple never materialized. The temple rebuilt after the exile fell far short of Ezekiel's massive measurements. Because the temple was not built in the past, premillennial literalists argue it is slated for a future millennial kingdom on earth. Scholar J. Barton Payne offers a different literal explanation. He argues that these chapters were a command given to the 6th century returnees, but the people failed to execute the plans. The raw data of the text invites a literal interpretation, yet history refuses to comply. This forces interpreters to either project the project to the end of time or classify it as a failed historical endeavor. The primary obstacle to a literal reading is found in chapter 47, the river. This chart tracks the river's exponential depth increase. Water jumps from ankle-deep to impassable without any tributaries. This impossible geography points toward a symbolic interpretation. The water represents the gospel's outward expansion, issuing from the altar to the world. But the friction goes beyond geography. The biggest challenge for a literal view is the theological requirement of animal sacrifices found in chapter 43. If Ezekiel's temple is a literal future building, then the blood sacrifices demanded in his text must also be literal future events. Scholar H. L. Ellison critiques this position, arguing that divine revelation moves forward and deepens, rather than reverting to old forms. Reinstating Levitical blood sacrifices directly conflicts with New Testament theology. The Book of Hebrews presents the abolition of the Aaronic priesthood and the finality of Christ's atonement as permanent. Literalists defend this by arguing that future sacrifices would be retrospective memorials, functioning like the modern Lord's Supper to point back to the cross. A commitment to a literal blueprint necessitates a reconciliation between these descriptions and the New Testament's insistence on the finality of the cross. Some scholars attempt to solve these tensions by dividing the text between literal and symbolic sections. This timeline shows Payne's segmentation, categorizing chapters 40 through 46 as literal past instructions, and chapters 47 and 48 as symbolic future prophecy. Theologian J. Oliver Buslull critiques this approach, arguing that segregating a continuous apocalyptic vision is arbitrary. Treating certain verses as literal and others as symbolic based on convenience compromises the structural integrity of the prophet's unified vision. The composite model provides an alternative framework for resolving the tension between literal data and symbolic features. Apocalyptic literature frequently utilizes prophetic compression, where events separated by vast periods of time appear as a single occurrence. Consider the effect of viewing a mountain range from a vast distance. We see 3 distinct peaks aligned along a single axis: the church age, the millennium, and the eternal state, separated by deep valleys of time. To a prophet looking forward from the ancient past, the vast valleys of time between these epochs are invisible. When viewed straight on, the three-dimensional depth disappears. The distinct peaks collapse into a single silhouette. This silhouette is a representation of Ezekiel 40 through 48, a blended composite image of multiple future eras. Ezekiel sees the spiritual blessings of the church, the parameters of the millennium, and the final reality of the eternal state superimposed on one another. The composite model allows the text to speak truthfully about future spiritual realities, without requiring the literal, anachronistic construction of an ancient temple system. This explains why Ezekiel used specific, outdated terminology, like Zadokite priests and exact cubits, to describe realities thousands of years in his future. To provide immediate comfort, God communicated the vision using the contemporary architectural and religious vocabulary that a 6th century exiled Israelite would understand. Despite the strengths of a composite view, modern literalists still look for physical fulfillment today, often pointing to specific geographical sites in modern Jerusalem. Some point to the Golden Gate in Jerusalem, connecting its sealed stone masonry to Ezekiel 44's description of a gate that remains shut until the prince arrives. However, the modern wall is a medieval construction, whereas Ezekiel is describing a purely visionary landscape. Mapping these precise literal coordinates risks missing the broader theological scope of the prophet's message. The complex architectural detail provides the structure for a theological guarantee of God's presence. Whether fulfilled in the church age, a millennial period, or the new heavens and earth, the entire blueprint serves one overarching promise: God will permanently dwell in the midst of his people.